Okay, and we're back. All right, so neutralizing routines happen right in between. Okay. So for example, when asked to complete academic tasks, Ramona is more likely to engage in adult attention-maintained problem behavior on days when she has a conflict at home before school. Obviously, we can't eliminate conflict at home, so we can do a neutralizing routine. So Ramona's team decided to go ahead and stop the video and see what you think you would do in that case. Okay, so they decided to build in a morning check-in on those days. So during which Ramona spends 5 to 10 minutes talking with a preferred adult before going to class, kind of resetting her day. And then the purpose of this routine is to help neutralize the effect of the conflict at home. So the setting event is home, the antecedent, whatever it may be, in between that, they neutralize the conflict. Alright, so the next part is the antecedent strategies, which is this part of your paper, the template that you need to be filling out. So these strategies are designed to prevent problem behavior. So you can either eliminate or modify, and then you need to prompt. So first, eliminating, modifying is the antecedent that trigger the behavior, and the prompting is the alternative or desired behavior, which is pre-correction. So this is all to prevent the problem behavior. So modifying triggers. Right. Prevention is key, so you want to make sure that you can neutralize or eliminate the setting event if you can. So you need to have that structured into your BSP, and then you also want to make sure that you have preventative measures for the triggers. So make sure that you have that in the BSP as well. When identifying preventative antecedent strategies, eliminate or alter the antecedent so students will no longer need to use the problem behavior. So whatever the antecedent is, if you're able to eliminate it or change it, then they won't engage in the problem behavior. So the best antecedent modification directly address these two things: identify the antecedent and the function of the behavior. So if you have, if you can modify these triggers, then they won't need to feel they have to exhibit the problem behavior, right? So identifying the antecedent strategies. How do you identify and then select them? So during independent reading time in language arts, when several minutes have passed without teacher attention, Audrey makes noises, talks out, and walks around the classroom. This behavior is maintained by adult attention. So what is the antecedent? In this case is the independent reading time in language arts. And the function, you can see that there is attention twice, so it's maintained by adult attention. So that's a function, is to gain adult attention. So which of these are best antecedent modifying strategy to prevent problem behavior? So go ahead and go through them, stop the video, and figure out what you think would be the best antecedent modifying strategy. So the first one is have peers remind the student to stay in her seat. So that is not the best way to address her antecedent modifying behavior, because she wants the function, which is the adult attention, right? So let's go ahead and cross that out. There you go. Then give student more time to finish her reading assignment. That reading assignment, say during the independent reading, is not going to affect her adult attention. So that is not a great strategy. Okay. Next, at the beginning of independent reading, explain to the class why it is important to sit quietly. That again, it does not address the attention, which is what she is looking for. And then provide student with reading on preferred topics. So again, that doesn't address her function, which is the attention. This would be great for escape, right? But not for attention. Okay, so instead we can do teacher will provide frequent praise for reading quietly and staying in her seat. So this is called an antecedent strategy because this will prevent her from actually engaging in problem behavior, right? So by giving her frequent praise before the problem behavior happens, she's able to avoid altogether the behavior. All right, so here's another one. When Pam is asked to work on long division problems in math class, she argues, refuses to work, and uses profanity to avoid and escape difficult tasks. Go ahead and try this on your own. So what is the antecedent and function, and does it address those two things? Well, the antecedent is asked to work long division problems, and the function is to avoid or escape. So we have to make sure that the antecedent modifying strategy addresses both. So let's look at the first one. Have students check in with a teacher at the beginning of class. Again, that doesn't really address the antecedent or the escape function. Give student more time to complete the difficult task. Again, we want her to do something before, so she's not going to start working. She's going to, once it's asked, she's gonna go ahead and engage in those behaviors. So this will not eliminate the antecedent. Okay, it's not a good antecedent strategy. Warn student that she'll be sent to office for using profanity. Again, that is threat, and it won't, that's something that you do, well, you don't want to do it at all, but this is a consequence, right? After she does the behavior, we want to make sure we address it before the behavior, and then allow students to practice long division on the computer. She's trying to avoid the task, so it's not letting her to avoid the task. So in this case, giving student an easier math assignment, so she's avoiding the difficult task, she can be successful with. Okay, so allowing her to give her the have an easier assignment is going to avoid the problem behavior, therefore addressing the antecedent. Okay. Here's another one. When asked to read independently in his seat, Ronnie makes inappropriate noises and makes faces at peers. Based on the FBA data collected, the team agreed that the function of Ronnie's behavior is to obtain peer attention. So provide an example of function-based antecedent strategy and then a non-example. This will be part of the assessment after the presentation, so make sure that you think of it now because you'll be typing this up later. Okay. Right, so we talked about eliminating and neutralizing setting events and then preventing or modifying the triggers. And then now we're going to talk about the prompt alternative behavior, alternative or behavior, desired behavior. Okay, so prompting. So after the replacement behavior has been taught, prompts and pre-corrections are used to support and help remind the students to use replacement and desired behavior. So after you know, the antecedent strategies are finished, you want to make sure there are some kind of prompts to help them remember, okay, you want to continue to use the you know, the replacement or the behavior that they want. So try thinking about what kind of prompts. A lot of students, especially emotionally disabled or students with autism, do really well with visual prompts because it's very non-intrusive. They don't really point a certain student out. So use pictures, symbols, or highlighted text, color-coded materials. Of course, you have to teach them that that's what the prompts mean. Verbal prompts, and then gestures or model prompts. Pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so prompting example. During circle time, when there's a lack of adult attention, Micah gets out of his spot, lays on peers, and grabs the teacher's materials to obtain adult attention. So the prompting will be that Micah's team has decided to put an outline around Micah's spot on the carpet and tape a visual raise hand picture on the floor in front of his spot. So a visual prompt there. Or model how to raise hand to get teacher attention on the way to the card. So model prompt to pre-correct. So showing how to do it and then having a picture there both ways, a good way to show prompts, to have prompts. Okay, so the next part is the teaching, the teach behavior, which is the alternative behavior or desired behavior. Okay, so teaching strategies help make the problem behavior inefficient by teaching functionally equivalent alternative behavior or new desired skills behavior. And the reason why I said it's inefficient is because the students it'll be easier for the students to do one of these than their problem behavior, because it's easier but still meet their function. They're more likely to engage in these preset behaviors. Okay, so if this is the routine that we talked about before, it is right over there, the alternative behavior. So you've already selected a function-based alternative behavior. Okay. So alternative behavior, never assume that the student already knows how to and when to use the alternative behavior. Okay, so we talked before about what alternative behavior looks like. So you should have already had that filled out. Now you have to think about, okay, how to make sure that you develop it, right? So if you look, develop an observer definition of a behavior. So make sure it's operationalized by identifying and teaching examples and non-examples of how and when to use the alternative behavior. Even if you think it's pretty explanatory, obvious, make sure that you teach them explicitly, and then provide multiple opportunities to review and practice it throughout the day. So here's an example of the alternative behavior. Ronnie makes inappropriate noises and makes faces at peers, which result in access to peer attention. And the team has decided to teach Ronnie to ask to work with a peer tutor. Okay, so again, it's saying they're getting the same function, which is peer attention, but more appropriately, which is a peer tutor. So Ronnie will need to be explicitly taught what asking to work with a peer does and does not look like, and when to use this skill. Okay, so don't just assume that they know how to ask for something. And then prearrange the frequent opportunities to review and practice in natural context. So make sure that you organize your lesson plans so that there are opportunities for Ronnie to be able to try that, so that you can teach them in a natural context. All right, so the bottom part is the desired behavior. Okay. And this may be something to focus on right away or after the student is able to consistently do the alternative behavior. All right, so desired behavior is a common skill deficits that lead to the problem behavior. So the skill is academic. If they don't have enough the skill academically, or social skills, or organizational skills, when they have these kind of skills deficit, it leads to the problem behavior. Right? So teaching strategies, desired behavior. To teach desired skills, we need to consider these things. Additional assessment to identify where the skill deficit is. So you need to figure out what's making the student not want to do something. Have more focused instruction in class. And then make sure you have appropriate grouping. And then additional support and practice at home if necessary. And then special education support for academic skills deficit. Okay, so let's look at what teaching desired behavior looks like. When Pam is asked to work on a long division problem, we've seen this before, she argues, refuses to work, and uses profanity to avoid and escape the difficult task. So in addition to teaching her to how to appropriately ask her teacher for an easier task, the alternative behavior, right, that's the asking her for a different task, which allows her to have the function, which is to escape from the difficult task. The team also decided to put in this, which is to provide additional small group instruction in multi-digit multiplication and division to help Pam learn successfully complete math problems independently. So after the student's able to do the alternative behavior well, and you put this in, then the student will be able to go into the desired behavior. Okay. All right. And then the final part is the consequence altering. So you can reinforce alternate and desired behaviors, or you can extinguish negative behaviors. And we can do that by here. We talked about minimizing and reinforcements for problem behavior. All right. And we're up. Within 15 minutes, go ahead and go to part 4.